underground cities that actually exist.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Talltanic. I'm your host, Alexa. Sure, most of the cool kids tour the cities above ground, but did you know that there is a whole world right underneath your feet? If you're new here, make sure that you're subscribed and ring the bell so that you never miss an upload. Okay, we are about to tour a ton of really cool places, but I want to know, what's the coolest place that you've ever been? My answer coming up later, but let me know yours in the comments down below.
La Ville Souterraine, Canada. Montreal contains a massive underground city, which locals retreat to when the mercury goes sub-zero. La Ville Souterraine has everything you would find above ground in a modern city. Stores, offices, apartment buildings, banks, entertainment, school and arena, transport by bus and train, hotels, and universities. La Ville Souterraine is also called the Underground City, and it has 120 entrances. Derinkuyu, Turkey. Derinkuyu lay hidden until the 1960s when a local man doing renovations knocked down a wall to reveal it in all of its glory. Believed to be in use from the 8th century BC to the Byzantine era, it was able to accommodate as many as 20,000 people under threat of war or invasion. The city goes 18 stories deep and boasts a complex living space with all the needs of a community, including ventilation chutes, wells, kitchens, bathhouses, churches, schools, oil presses, and a winery. Each level could be sealed off with boulders, which kept its inhabitants safe from invaders. The construction was made possible by the volcanic rock common in Turkey's Cappadocia region, and it's believed that the first builders were the Hittites or the Phrygians. The Byzantine Christians left behind frescoes and chapels later. Shanghai Tunnels, Portland. The Shanghai Tunnels are a network of stone tunnels linking Portland's Old Town, known as Chinatown, to the central downtown area. When they were actively used, basements of bars and hotels had an entrance into the tunnels, which allowed a direct route from supply ships on the Willamette River to the basement storage. This meant minimal exposure to rain and no need to cause a traffic jam. It was also rumored people were smuggled out of the tunnels to work as sailors, a practice known as Shanghaiing. Matmata, Tunisia. These caves come with Star Wars notoriety. You'll recognize them as Luke Skywalker's childhood home of Tatooine. In everyday life, Matmata is an active city of 2,000 inhabitants living in troglodyte or cave-dwelling structures. These homes are made by digging a massive underground pit. The open pit is usually the courtyard with several exits leading to the homes, connected by trench-like passages. It's a very big tourist attraction in the area. Naour, France. 100 feet or 30 meters below a forested plateau in France, you can wander through the underground city of Naour. It includes 2 miles or 3.2 kilometers of tunnels and 300 man-made rooms carved into the ground. Initially, it was a quarry around the 3rd century AD, providing material to the Romans, but locals began using it as a hideout during wars and invasions in the Middle Ages. During its heyday, it would have had enough room for 3,000 people with bakeries, wells, stables, and chapels. They were sealed off at some point and rediscovered in the 1800s and immediately became a tourist attraction, which was very popular with Allied soldiers in World War I. The soldiers left behind more than 2,000 pieces of graffiti. Deshui Chang, Beijing. In the 1970s, amid threat of nuclear attacks and bombings, Deshui Chang was built as a shelter with nearly 100 hidden entrances. It was also known as the Underground Great Wall, and schools, hospitals, and even hostel-like halls were built for longer stays. Luckily, it was never needed for protection, and in 2000, it was open to the public for tours. Due to the unaffordable rent in Beijing, more recently, people have been forced to live illegally in the underground city. City of the Gods, Egypt. Hidden beneath the pyramids of Giza, researchers discovered an entire hidden city in 1978 below the ancient structures. The city includes chambers and tunnels, which radar imaging has picked up. Radars have picked up houses, pits, and a possible harbor, but excavating the area will be near impossible. Wieliczka Salt Mine, Poland. The start of this underground city dates to the 1200s when the area first became mined for salt. The creative and seemingly artistic miners went a step further than just removing the white gold. They left behind a stunning portfolio of art and design that still stuns visitors to this day. After their mining duties, they carved a complex of rooms, passageways, and statues to adorn this underground world. They seem to have a propensity for art and added galleries linked by tunnels, adding details like chandeliers pictures, statues, and bas-reliefs. One such work of art was a detailed replica of Da Vinci's The Last Supper. Since 2007, the mine hasn't been operational as the salt supply ran dry, but it is still a major tourist attraction, complete with a salt health spa. Pedy Australia. This current-day mining town exists underground in the Down Under with 1,600 friendly residents. Pedy was established around the opal mining industry in the area, which is the largest in the world. The homes or dugouts are interspersed with mines, shops, restaurants, a church, and other homes, and are practical for the hot South Australian climate as they can escape the severe heat. The area is also dingo territory, so going subterranean has many perks. Lalibela Ethiopia. In the 12th century, the New Jerusalem was carved onto the Ethiopian landscape, and today these subterra churches still stand dug into the volcanic rock. The 11 churches were commissioned by a devout king who wanted the 11 churches hollowed out below the surface so they looked like they had grown directly from the ground. The most well-known is the cross-shaped Church of St. George, which is 100 feet deep. The churches are connected by a network of underground passageways, caves, and catacombs. Legends boast that the construction of Lalibela took 24 years. Burlington, England. In the 1950s, a bunker, codenamed Burlington, was constructed to house the English government in case of nuclear war. 4,000 government employees were catered for, but surprisingly, none of their families. The scale was massive, one of the largest on our list. It spans 60 miles, or 95 kilometers, with all the survival needs, like a water treatment plant, hospitals, a train station, even a BBC TV station for broadcasts in case of a nuclear blast. It even sported a pub. Petra Jordan. Petra made its film debut in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, but there's a lot more to this ancient city than what you see on the silver screen. Petra reached its peak about 2,000 years ago when the Nabateans hand-chiseled it from the sandstone hillside. This architectural masterpiece includes temples, tombs, and banquet halls. One of the edifices, Al-Khazna, or the Treasury, is an ornamental facade 130 feet high. The city was abandoned in the 7th century, but the site is still largely unexcavated because of the scale of the ruins of Petra, which just keep being uncovered. Jaw Saskatchewan. Below Moose Jaw in southern Canada lies a rabbit warren of tunnels with stories equally hard to unravel. Initially, the tunnels were built to house Chinese immigrants who were experiencing persecution due to the infamous head tax imposed on them. Locals feared that they were taking their jobs. They were forced to live in the tunnels and work above ground for food and supplies. In the 1920s, the tunnels became a hotbed for bootleggers smuggling booze into the U.S. during Prohibition. It's rumored that Al Capone was connected, but the proof has never been unearthed. Empire State Plaza, USA. This is a more modern deviation from ancient cave dwellers, more along the lines of Montreal's underground. Above the ground of the Empire State Plaza in Albany are government buildings, and below ground is a concourse of shops, restaurants, and recreation facilities where government staff can let loose. The concourse is home to masterpieces by famous artists like Mark Rothko, Jackson Pollock, and Alexander Calder. Underground bunkers, Berlin. In 1945, Berlin air raids made it necessary to create a massive amount of safety bunkers, which today are open for tours. The organization running the tours is called Berlin Underground, who have mapped out the tunnels to better understand its full scale. The bunkers can be found across the city, but there is a higher concentration near the Brandenburg Gate. Arrows mark the walls to help residents navigate to safety, and chambers are fitted with gas masks and steel doors to keep gas out. Edinburgh Vaults, United Kingdom. Next, we enter the dark underbelly of Edinburgh through the Edinburgh Vaults, a series of damp chambers built within the 19 arches of the South Bridge in the 18th century. The vaults opened in 1788 with the intention to house taverns, cutlers, cobblers, smelters, and tradesmen, but it became a place full of sordid tradings and dealings. There were rumors that claimed bodies were stashed there before being sold for medical experiments. After businesses relocated, it housed the poorest of the city, complete with pubs hidden in the city's shadow. Western Wall Tunnel, Israel. If you're heading to Jerusalem, ensure you make a stop at the Western Wall. The wall consists of ancient tunnels running underneath the city, connecting the open-air prayer site with the underground portion, which spans 488 meters or 1,600 feet underground. By heading underground, you'll come across remnants left behind from the temple that Herod built more than 2,000 years ago. Paris, France. Half of Paris is located below the surface, and I'm not just referring to the catacombs. You can walk from one side of the city to the other side, all underground, but unfortunately the tunnels have mostly been blocked off. Some of the things you can see underground include La Plage, aka the beach, which is a large chamber filled with sand. There's Salon du Château, aka the castle room, which is a room with a huge replica of a castle. There's also Salon des Miroirs, aka the mirror room, a room with broken glass lining the walls. There's also paintings, furniture, murals, and a library where you can take a book and leave another in its place.
Before we move on to number one of the coolest places that I've ever been was actually Paris. And while I did visit the catacombs, I mostly stayed above ground. Let me know your favorite places down in the comments below.
1. Orvieto, Italy. Orvieto is a beautiful town atop a hilltop, sporting all the beauties of the Italian countryside, such as ornate architecture, wineries, and incredible views. But below Orvieto lies the biggest wonder of all, an ancient underground city carved into the volcanic rock. Since the ancient Etruscans, the rock was carved away to become a city of 1,200 interconnected tunnels, dwellings, and galleries. It's a maze of incredible engineering and includes wells, cisterns, olive presses, wine stores, and pigeon roosts. Underground Orvieto was abandoned as a full-time dwelling, but as late as World War II, it was still being used as a shelter.